Right now, as you listen to this, you are resisting reality. You are stuck in a loop of complaints and frustration. Expectations are smothering your peace. This is the very mistake that keeps you trapped. Acceptance is not weakness. It is strength. The Stoics mastered this art. They learned that life is full of challenges beyond our control. And instead of complaining, they accepted the world as it is. In this segment, we will explore the transformative power of acceptance. You will learn how to free yourself from frustration and tap into a deeper sense of inner strength. I want you to pause right now and comment, "I embrace what I cannot change," below. Write it. Own it. Let every like on your comment remind you of this promise. Accepting what you cannot control is your weapon against life's chaos. Now, let us delve deeper into why acceptance is the cornerstone of a Stoic mindset. Prepare yourself for profound wisdom that will reshuffle your entire approach to life. Secret 1. The mirror of virtue. Now here is where most people completely fall apart. They look in the mirror and refuse to see the truth. They blame others for their pain, for their disappointments. But the Stoics understood something vital. The world reflects our own virtues and vices. In your daily interactions, in your relationships, and yes, even in your complaints about women, you are looking into a mirror. That mirror shows you not just them, but you. Let me tell you a story about Seneca. He was a man who faced immense challenges. He experienced betrayal, political strife, and personal loss. But through it all, he remained focused on his own character. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." This means that much of our distress comes from how we perceive things, not the events themselves. If you find yourself complaining about women or anyone else, examine yourself first. What does that complaint reveal about you? If you feel frustration, look into the mirror of virtue. What are you failing to accept in yourself? What are you projecting onto others? This is not about playing the blame game. This is about taking responsibility. The Stoics taught that we can't control others, but we can control how we react to them. So how do you apply this? Tonight, take a moment to reflect. Write down one complaint you have about someone. Now, beside it, write down what that says about you. Is it jealousy? Is it fear of rejection? Is it insecurity? This exercise will reveal patterns in your character that need addressing. Strength lies not in denying your flaws, but in facing them head-on. Stop. Think about that. You are responsible for your reactions. You have the power to change your perspective. But this next part gets dangerous. You might be inclined to dismiss what I'm saying. That's the comfort zone talking. Understand that every time you complain, you give away your power. Instead, use that energy to reflect on how you can grow. When you embrace this mindset, you start to see others as mirrors reflecting your own virtues. The moment you shift focus from blame to growth, you will feel a weight lift off your shoulders. Take action. Write down your complaints. Look deeper. This practice can transform your life. Now that you understand this, let me show you the weapon that makes it stick. You have everything you need to build a life of strength and virtue. But it starts with you looking into that mirror and owning what you see. Secret 2. Embracing impermanence. Now here is where most people completely fall apart. They cling to what they know and fear what they cannot control. The reality is, everything around you is temporary. Your relationships, your possessions, even life itself. This simple truth can either terrify you or liberate you. The Stoic philosophers understood this deeply. They embraced impermanence, teaching that the only constant in life is change. When you accept that nothing lasts forever, you begin to experience life more vividly. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This means you should focus on what you can control: your thoughts, your actions, your reactions. The outside world is fleeting. People come and go. Situations shift. Imagine for a moment the great Stoic philosopher Epictetus. He endured slavery and hardship, yet he thrived. He understood that external factors could not rob him of his inner strength. He taught that our thoughts shape our experiences. So, here's the lesson. Embrace the fact that everything is short-lived. When you do, you stop taking things for granted. You start valuing every moment, every interaction, and every lesson life presents. Now pay attention. This is the real lesson. When you embrace impermanence, you build resilience. You learn to appreciate what you have. You stop worrying about losing what you cannot keep. Here's your actionable takeaway. Tonight, sit down with a piece of paper. Write down 3 things you fear losing. It could be a relationship, a job, or even your health. Next to each, write the truth about impermanence. Yes, you might lose these things. But ask yourself, what would happen if you did? You might discover that you can find strength in acceptance. You can appreciate what you have without being paralyzed by the fear of losing it. This practice will shift your perspective. It will train your mind to embrace life as it is, not as you wish it to be. But knowing this alone is not enough, because there is something even more dangerous. Secret 3, the power of perspective. Now here is where most people completely fall apart. They look at their problems and feel powerless. They believe their perspective is set in stone, unable to change. But let me tell you this. Your perspective is the lens through which you experience life. Change it, and everything changes. Think about Marcus Aurelius. He ruled an empire, leading thousands in battle. Yet he faced tremendous challenges. He dealt with betrayal, war, and illness. Despite it all, he wrote in his journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is a powerful reminder. Your thoughts define your reality. When you shift your perspective, you gain control. You can choose to see obstacles as opportunities. You can view setbacks as lessons. You no longer feel like a victim of circumstances. Instead, you become a warrior of your own fate. Let's take a modern example. Picture someone who loses their job. They might feel crushed. They believe their worth is tied to that position. But what if they shifted their thinking? What if instead of focusing on loss, they viewed it as a chance to explore new opportunities? This can change everything. It transforms despair into motivation. It turns setbacks into setups for greater success. So here's your action step. Identify a challenge you're facing. It could be anything. A tough conversation, a job loss, or a relationship issue. Write it down. Now, ask yourself, how can I view this differently? What positive outcome is hidden in this situation? Take a moment to brainstorm. You might find that what seemed like a disaster is actually a door opening to something better. By changing your perspective, you empower yourself. You stop being a passive observer and become an active participant in your life. But here is the part nobody talks about. Perspective is not just about positive thinking. It requires hard work and discipline. You have to train your mind, much like a soldier trains for battle. Challenge yourself daily. Seek out different viewpoints. Engage in conversations that make you uncomfortable. The world is not black and white. It is filled with shades of gray. Embracing this complexity can deepen your understanding and strengthen your resolve. Remember, the way you see life shapes how you live it. And if you want to thrive, you must become a master of perspective. Now that you understand this, let me show you the weapon that makes it stick. Secret 4, the shield of reason. Now here is where most people completely fall apart. They believe that merely adjusting their perspective will suffice. But that's only half the battle. The real strength comes from fortifying your mind with reason. This is the shield of reason. Imagine a soldier standing firm in the heat of battle. He is not merely waving his sword, but is protected by a strong shield, allowing him to think clearly, react swiftly, and adapt to chaos. This is how you must approach life's challenges. You need to arm yourself with reason. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. This means that no matter what happens outside, you control your reactions. When you encounter a problem, don't let your emotions lead you astray. Analyze the situation. Break it down. Ask yourself, what is within my control? What is not? This kind of thinking clears the fog of anxiety. Let's say you recently faced rejection, a job application that went nowhere. Your initial reaction might be anger or despair, but reason tells you to pause. Ask, what did I learn from this? How can I improve for next time? This simple shift can transform disappointment into enlightenment. But here is the part nobody talks about. Many people stop here. They get stuck in their feelings, letting emotions dictate their actions. Most people fail to recognize that emotional reactions are often impulsive and irrational. They cloud your judgment. Instead, push back against that instinct. Strengthen your shield of reason. So, here's your action step. The next time you face a setback, take a moment to breathe. Write down your initial emotional reaction. Then, underneath it, challenge yourself to list 3 rational responses. What can you learn? What actions can you take? This practice not only sharpens your reasoning skills, but also builds a habit. As you sharpen this shield, you'll notice something powerful. You become less reactive and more deliberate. Now ask yourself this. What emotional reaction is currently holding you back? What if you could replace it with a reasoned response? By doing this consistently, you will find that stress and frustration lose their grip. You'll stand tall, fortified by reason. Now that you understand this, let me show you the weapon that makes it stick. Secret 5. The poison of expectations. Right now, you are holding a poison. It's called expectation, and it seeps into your mind, clouding your vision. Expectations are the silent thief, robbing you of joy and peace. They create a gap between what you want and what reality delivers. This dissatisfaction breeds frustration. This section will illustrate how to recognize and dismantle the poison of expectations. You will begin to free yourself from the weight of unfulfilled desires. I want you to pause right now and comment, I release my expectations below. Write it. Own it. Let every like on your comment remind you of this promise. Now, let's talk about the pitfalls of expectations. Now here is where most people completely fall apart. Imagine a young soldier in ancient Rome. His name was Gaius. He was filled with dreams of glory and success in battle. He expected his first campaign to be a swift victory. But when he faced a seasoned enemy, he was overwhelmed. His expectations shattered. Seneca said, "A wise man is not one who is not affected by pain, but one who is not affected by pain in the wrong way." This quote reminds us that disappointment is not the issue. It is our expectations that set us up for failure. When you cling tightly to expectations, disappointment is inevitable. Life will not conform to your desires. Your control over events is an illusion. So what can you do? Replace expectations with acceptance. Instead of expecting a perfect outcome, focus on what you can control. Your actions, your responses, your attitude. This leads to a powerful action step. Tonight, before you sleep, take out a piece of paper. Write down 3 expectations you have about your life. Then, next to each, write a realistic outcome instead. How would accepting that outcome change your reaction? This practice decreases the poison of expectation. It increases your ability to adapt. But here is the part nobody talks about. Expectations can be deeply rooted. They may stem from society, family, or your own desires. Now pay attention. This is the real lesson. Accepting reality does not mean giving up. It means focusing on what you can create from reality, instead of lamenting what's lost. In the end, expectations will only serve to drain your energy and diminish your spirit. Do not be most people. Reject the poison. Now that you understand this, let me show you the weapon that makes it stick. Secret 6. The wisdom of listening. Right now, you are likely missing out on the most powerful tool in your arsenal. The tool? Listening. It sounds simple, but it is rare. Most people hear, but few truly listen. This is a mistake that separates the wise from the foolish. Listening is not just a skill. It is a superpower. I want you to pause right now and comment, "Listening is my superpower" below. Write it. Own it. Let every like on your comment remind you of this promise. Listening allows you to learn. It helps you understand others. More importantly, it sharpens your own thoughts. Imagine the wise philosopher Epictetus. He once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." What does that mean? It means we are meant to absorb knowledge. Yet, many ignore this fundamental truth. Instead, they chatter endlessly while missing the wisdom around them. Now here is where most people completely fall apart. They think they know everything. They rush to speak, pushing their own ideas. They miss the insights waiting for them in the silence. When you listen actively, you connect with others on a deeper level. You gain perspectives you might never have considered. You discover truths about yourself and the world. But here is the part nobody talks about. Listening requires humility. It demands you to set aside your ego. It asks you to lower the noise in your mind. Let me give you a story. There was a young soldier who struggled in battle. His commander, a wise leader, noticed the soldier's frustration. Instead of giving orders, the commander asked, "What do you think we should do?" The young soldier hesitated, but he shared his thoughts. The commander listened closely, validating the soldier's feelings. This simple act turned the soldier's confidence around. He felt heard, valued, and ready to act. The lesson here is clear. Listening fosters loyalty. It builds trust. Now pay attention. This is the real lesson. Your ability to listen can transform your relationships. What do you do with this wisdom? Here's your actionable takeaway. Tomorrow, in your next conversation, focus solely on listening. Don't interrupt. Don't plan your response while the other person speaks. Instead, absorb their words. Ask questions to clarify. Reflect back what you hear. This practice will enhance the connection you have with others. It will sharpen your understanding of different viewpoints. But knowing this alone is not enough, because there is something even more dangerous. Listening is not just about others. It's also about listening to yourself. Often, we ignore our inner voice because we are too busy with external noise. By honing the skill of listening, you strengthen your decision-making. You clarify your own values and desires. So, remember to listen, not just to others, but to the whispers of your own mind. This is your path to true wisdom. Secret 7. The Trap of Comparison. Now, here's where most people completely fall apart. You wake up every day, scrolling through social media, comparing yourself to everyone else. You look at their highlight reels and feel like a failure. You see their perfect relationships, their dream jobs, their flawless bodies. And in that moment, the trap of comparison pulls you in. This is the mistake that keeps you trapped. Let's talk about how the Stoics viewed this. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." It's a powerful reminder that comparison is an external event. It's not a reflection of your worth. When you compare yourself to others, you give away your power. You let their successes dictate your value. This leads to self-doubt and dissatisfaction. Think of the philosopher Seneca, who faced enormous pressure in Rome's elite circles. He knew comparison could destroy anyone. Instead of being pulled into that chaos, he focused inward. He understood his own principles and goals. This internal focus allowed him to thrive, not just survive. So what's the lesson here? Comparison is a thief. It steals your joy. It clouds your judgment. It keeps you from becoming the best version of yourself. But here is the part nobody talks about. To escape the trap of comparison, you need to shift your focus. First, recognize when you are comparing yourself to someone else. Acknowledge that feeling, but don't let it control you. Next, take action. Write down 3 things you are grateful for in your own life. Focus on your unique strengths. When you do this, you reclaim your power. Now, I challenge you. Tomorrow, before you check social media, write down your personal goals. What do you want to achieve? Not what others are doing. What matters to you? This practice grounds you in your own journey. It reminds you that your path is unique. But this is not just about avoiding comparison. It's about embracing your individuality. You are on a unique journey. Your progress, your struggles, your victories. These are yours alone. Now that you understand this, let me show you the weapon that makes it stick. Secret 8. The Protocol of Compassion. Now here is where most people completely fall apart. They hear about focusing inward, and they think it's just self-absorption. It's not. It's about cultivating a profound sense of compassion. Compassion for others, yes, but more importantly, compassion for yourself. Let's take a look at the philosopher Marcus Aurelius. He faced immense challenges. His life was filled with wars, betrayals, and personal loss. Yet he wrote in his journal, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly." Marcus wasn't bitter. Instead, he understood that everyone struggles in their own way. He practiced compassion because he realized that every person you encounter is fighting a battle you know nothing about. This is the heart of Stoic thought. Compassion is not weakness. It is a strength. When you show compassion, you put down the armor and connect with humanity. What does this mean for you? It means recognizing that when someone behaves poorly, it often comes from their own pain. Instead of reacting with anger or resentment, pause. Ask yourself why they may be acting that way. This shift in perspective transforms conflict into understanding. Now pay attention. This is the real lesson. Compassion helps you build deeper relationships. It allows you to collaborate rather than compete. Think of your coworkers, your friends, even your family. When you approach them with understanding, you foster a supportive environment. Here's what I want you to do. The next time someone frustrates you, take a moment to breathe. Reflect on their struggles. Then, respond with kindness instead of defensiveness. This simple action can change the entire dynamic. You become a source of light in darkness. And remember, this compassion must also extend to yourself. When you mess up, don't beat yourself up. Acknowledge your mistakes and learn from them. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. You control how you interpret your experiences. Show yourself the same compassion you show others. This practice will lead you to become a stronger person. You will find resilience and kindness. But knowing this alone is not enough, because there is something even more dangerous. Secret 9. The Weapon of Self-Control. Now here is where most people completely fall apart. They know compassion is vital, but they forget the backbone of it all. Self-control. Without self-control, your compassion will waver. It's the armor that protects your mindset. When life throws challenges your way, it is your self-control that keeps you steady. Self-control is not just about discipline. It's about understanding your impulses. It's about recognizing your feelings, then choosing how to respond. Take a moment to think about this. Imagine Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, standing in a crowded market. He hears loud arguments around him. People are angry, shouting, and losing their tempers. Epictetus remains calm. He understands that their anger is not worth his response. He has power over his mind. He once said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This means that external events, like frustration and stress, can't shake the core of who you are. You have the ability to choose your reactions. When you feel anger bubbling up, pause. Ask yourself, what's really happening here? This self-reflection is the key to self-control. It allows you to navigate through chaos without losing your center. Tonight, before you sleep, I want you to reflect. Write down 3 instances from your day when your self-control was tested. Did you react with anger? Did you lose your cool? Or did you respond with the strength of a Stoic? Then, think about how you could have handled those moments differently. This practice sharpens your self-discipline. And here's where it gets dangerous. Most people give in to their immediate reactions. They let their emotions dictate their responses. But you must rise above that. Self-control is your weapon. It empowers you to act, not just react. When someone provokes you, you have a choice. You can respond with anger, or you can respond with strength. This is how you build your character. The stronger you get at controlling yourself, the more resilient you become. Now pay attention. This is the real lesson. Developing self-control creates a cycle of empowerment. Each time you choose your response wisely, you reinforce your strength. You become more capable of facing life's challenges without falling apart. But remember, self-control isn't a one-time effort. It's a battle you fight every day. If this is hitting different right now, do one thing for me. Hit that subscribe button. Not for me. For the version of you that needs this reminder next week. Now that you understand this, let me show you the weapon that makes it stick. Secret 10. The Fortress of Boundaries. Now here is where most people completely fall apart. They think that self-control is all they need. They overlook the importance of boundaries. Without strong boundaries, self-control has no foundation. You risk letting others dictate your life. You open yourself to endless chaos. The first step to self-improvement is to learn to control your own thoughts, said Marcus Aurelius. This is true, but controlling your thoughts means establishing what you allow into your life. It is about knowing when to say yes and when to say no. Boundaries are your fortress. They guard your time, energy, and mental space. Imagine a mighty castle surrounded by high walls. Those walls protect what matters most. Your fortress allows you to thrive, not just survive. Consider a story about Seneca. He was once invited to a lavish banquet. It was an opportunity to socialize, but the environment was toxic. The conversations were shallow. The atmosphere was tense. Seneca could have gone, seeking to fit in. Instead, he declined the invitation. He knew that his peace was more valuable than social approval. He built a boundary. In doing so, he chose wisdom over noise. He chose authenticity over pretense. The lesson here is clear. You must build your own fortress of boundaries. Boundaries keep negativity out. They allow you to focus on what truly matters. We suffer more in imagination than in reality, said Seneca. When you set boundaries, you stop the imaginary suffering. You stop worrying about what others think. Instead, you prioritize your own mental clarity. So how do you build your fortress? First, identify what drains you. It could be certain people, environments, or even obligations. Write them down. Acknowledge how they affect you. Next, create clear boundaries. Let others know what you will accept and what you won't. This is not about being harsh. It's about being strong. When someone crosses your boundaries, assert yourself. Use your voice as your shield. And this is where it gets dangerous. Many people fear confrontation. They think it will bring conflict. But conflict is often necessary for growth. It is a form of self-respect. When you reinforce your boundaries, you send a message. You tell the world that your peace matters. Tonight, before you sleep, I want you to think about your boundaries. Identify one area where you need to be stronger. Write down how you will protect yourself tomorrow. This action is crucial. It is the first step in building your fortress. But knowing this alone is not enough, because there is something even more dangerous lurking outside your fortress. Secret 11. The Balance of Emotions. Now here is where most people completely fall apart. They let their emotions control them. They react instead of respond. They complain, blame, and lose sight of what truly matters. This is the chaos that keeps you weak. The balance of emotions is essential for a strong mind. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength, said Marcus Aurelius. This means you control how you react to what happens around you. When you master your emotions, you regain control of your life. Think about a time when you let your emotions take the reins. Maybe it was an argument with a colleague. Perhaps you felt overwhelmed after a breakup. In these moments, you can feel like a ship tossed in a storm. The waves of anger or sadness come crashing down, pulling you under. But here's the lesson. You can learn to navigate those turbulent waters. The key lies in recognizing your emotions without letting them define you. Take the story of Epictetus. Once, a student approached him in distress after losing a significant investment. Instead of wallowing in self-pity, Epictetus calmly asked, "Did you lose the money, or did you lose your dignity?" This student realized he had power over his response, which shifted his entire outlook. You see, emotions are not your enemies. They are signals. They inform you about your inner state. But if you let them dictate your actions, you lose your power. You drift away from who you want to be. Now pay attention. This is the real lesson. The first step in achieving emotional balance is awareness. When you feel anger, sadness, or frustration, take a moment to breathe. Acknowledge those feelings. Ask yourself, what is this emotion telling me? Next, practice reframing your thoughts. Instead of saying, I failed, think, I learned. Transform your emotional response. Then, take action. Set aside 15 minutes each day to reflect. Journal about your feelings. Ask yourself what triggered them and how you can respond differently next time. Finally, remind yourself of this mantra. I am the master of my emotions. I want you to pause right now and comment, I am the master of my emotions below. Write it. Own it. Let every like on your comment remind you of this promise. By doing this, you strengthen your emotional foundation. You become resilient. But knowing this alone is not enough. Because there is something even more dangerous lurking outside your fortress. The distractions that pull you away from your purpose. The noise that drowns out your true self. Stay vigilant. Secret 12. The Alchemy of Gratitude. Now here is where most people completely fall apart. They chase after happiness, thinking it's a destination. But happiness is not found in possessions or praise. It's found in gratitude. Gratitude is the alchemy that transforms what you have into enough. It is the lens that changes your perception. When you learn to embrace gratitude, you shift your focus. Instead of what you lack, you see what you have. Marcus Aurelius wrote, when you arise in the morning, think of the privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love. This reminds us that every day is an opportunity. Let me share a story. There was a soldier named Gaius who had lost everything to war. His home was destroyed. His family was scattered. But instead of sinking into despair, he chose gratitude. Each morning, he would wake up and list 3 things he was thankful for: the sun rising, the fresh air, and a sturdy roof over his head. Gaius found strength in gratitude. It became his armor against despair. The lesson? Gratitude isn't just a nice feeling. It's a powerful tool. It shifts your focus from scarcity to abundance. It creates resilience. So how do you practice this? Start today. Each night before you go to bed, write down 3 things you are grateful for. They can be small things or big. The warmth of your coffee, the smile of a stranger, your health. Feel the weight of those words. Let gratitude fill your mind. But here is the part nobody talks about. Gratitude can also spark action. It can motivate you to give back. When you recognize what you've received, you naturally want to create that same light for others. It becomes a cycle of strength and support. If this is hitting different right now, do one thing for me. Hit that subscribe button. Not for me, but for the version of you that needs this reminder next week. Now, as you continue your practice, remember this mantra. Gratitude transforms my perspective. I want you to pause right now and comment, gratitude transforms my perspective below. Write it. Own it. Let every like on your comment remind you of this commitment. With gratitude, you have the power to forge a life of strength and purpose. You do not allow the world to dictate your happiness. You create it. And now that you understand this power, let me show you the weapon that makes it stick. Secret 13. The clarity of purpose. Now here is where most people completely fall apart. They seek success, but they have no clear direction. They chase empty desires, blurred by distractions. But you have the chance to cut through the noise. Clarity of purpose is the secret weapon. It gives your life meaning and drives your actions. Listen closely. The Stoics understood this truth deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This means your purpose comes from within. It's not shaped by others or the chaos around you. Let me share a story. In ancient Rome, the philosopher Seneca faced exile. He lost his position and wealth. Many would have crumbled under the pressure. But Seneca used this time to reflect. He defined what truly mattered to him. knowledge, wisdom, and the betterment of others. Instead of wallowing in despair, he wrote. He shared his insights, influencing generations. He created a legacy that endures today. He found his clarity of purpose amidst chaos. What's the lesson here? When everything seems lost, clarity becomes your guiding star. You must identify your purpose. What drives you? What do you want to accomplish? It doesn't have to be grand. It can be simple, like being a better friend or pursuing your passion. Take a moment tonight. Write down your purpose. Be specific. Make it a statement that ignites your spirit. For example, say, I will strive to inspire others with my art, or I will be a source of strength for my family. This clarity will fuel your actions. When challenges arise, you'll know why you fight. And here is the real action. Every morning, read that purpose aloud. Let it resonate within you. This will align your thoughts, emotions, and actions. Now pay attention. This is the real lesson. Clarity of purpose doesn't just give you direction. It empowers you. You become unstoppable. But knowing this alone is not enough. Because there is something even more dangerous lurking in the shadows. Secret 14. The dance of vulnerability. Now here is where most people completely fall apart. When we think about vulnerability, we often picture weakness. But in reality, vulnerability is a powerful dance. It is the key to connection, growth, and true strength. In the face of adversity, many wear a mask. They hide their emotions, fearing judgment. But by doing so, they deny their humanity. This is where the Stoics teach us an important lesson. Let's look at Epictetus. He was a former slave who became a great philosopher. Despite his harsh past, he taught that vulnerability is not about exposing your weaknesses. It's about embracing your true self. He said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." In other words, it's your response to vulnerability that defines you. When you own your vulnerabilities, you show strength. You invite others into your experience. You build trust and connection. Think about it. When a friend shares their struggles, do you see them as weak? No, you see them as brave. You admire their honesty. This leads us to a critical action you must take. Start expressing your vulnerabilities. Share something real with someone you trust. It could be a fear, a regret, or a dream. You don't need to share everything, but allow yourself to be seen. Tonight, choose one vulnerability to share. Write it down. Then, decide who you will share it with. Make this your goal for tomorrow. But here's the catch. This is not just about having a moment of honesty. It's about creating a habit. Make it a practice to share your authentic self. The more you do this, the stronger your connections will become. Now, pay attention. This next part changed everything for me. Many people fear vulnerability because they think it will make them weak or exposed. To them, it feels like standing on a cliff, naked and afraid. But in truth, it's the opposite. Vulnerability stands as the bridge to your power. When you embrace vulnerability, you open yourself to growth. You create opportunities for understanding and compassion. You elevate your life to new heights. So commit to this dance. Show up as your true self. But know this, vulnerability is not a weakness to be hidden. It's a strength to be worn like armor. It will fortify you against the storms of life. And now that you understand this, let me show you the weapon that makes it stick. Secret 15. The legacy of influence. Now, here's where most people completely fall apart. They think influence is about power or fame. They chase recognition, desperately seeking approval. But that's a trap. The true legacy of influence lies not in how many people notice you. It's about how many people you inspire. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." This speaks to the essence of our actions defining us. Your influence is a reflection of your character, not your status. Think of the Stoic philosopher Seneca. He was not just a thinker. He was a man of action. He faced challenges with courage and integrity. His life was a model of how to influence others through strength, wisdom, and compassion. Seneca used his voice to uplift those around him. He taught that true wealth is not in gold or silver, but in the richness of character and the impact we leave on others. So, how do you build this legacy? The answer is simple yet profound. Influence begins with authenticity. When you live your truth, you naturally attract others. People are drawn to genuine souls. They resonate with your struggles and triumphs. This is your action step. Ask yourself, what do I stand for? Write it down. What values guide your life? Once you clarify this, begin to show up for others. Share your knowledge. Lend a hand. Be the person who encourages and uplifts those around you. But here is the part that nobody talks about. The world will throw challenges at you. People will doubt you. You might even feel like giving up. But in those moments, remember that your influence is built in how you respond. In your lowest moments, how you choose to act matters most. When you respond with resilience and kindness, you not only elevate yourself, but also create ripples of strength in others. This next part might make you uncomfortable. Good. Evaluate those you surround yourself with. Are they lifting you up? Are they inspiring you to be your best self? If not, it's time to reconsider your circle. Step into the role of a leader in your life. Now, take action tonight. Reach out to someone who could benefit from your influence. Share your insights, your lessons learned, or even a simple word of encouragement. Influence thrives on connection. It is a living force. But knowing this alone is not enough. Because there is something even more dangerous. You must also recognize the power of your words. Each word you speak carries weight. They can build or destroy. Choose wisely. Your legacy is crafted not just by grand gestures, but by the daily decisions you make. How you live your life influences countless others. So, commit to being a beacon of strength. Cultivate a legacy that speaks of kindness, integrity, and passion. This is how you leave your mark on the world. Secret 16, the catalyst of growth. Now here is where most people completely fall apart. When faced with adversity, the tendency is to shrink back, to complain, to let the world dictate our emotions and actions. But that's the easy way out. The real challenge lies in understanding that every setback can be a catalyst for growth. Consider the story of Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor. He faced wars, personal loss, and the plague, yet he wrote in his meditations, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." What does this mean? It means that obstacles are not just hurdles. They are opportunities in disguise. Each challenge is a chance to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. When you embrace difficulties, you shift your mindset from victimhood to empowerment. Think about it. Each time you face a challenge, you have the choice to complain or to learn. So let's get practical. Tonight, before you sleep, identify one recent challenge you faced. Reflect on it. What did you learn? How did it help you grow? Then, write this down. This challenge was a catalyst for my growth. Repeat that mantra. This challenge was a catalyst for my growth. I want you to pause right now and comment, "This challenge was a catalyst for my growth," below. Write it. Own it. Let every like on your comment remind you of this promise. But here's the part that gets dangerous. Many people believe that growth comes only from extraordinary events. But the truth is, growth happens in the mundane. Look at your daily routine. Are you learning every day? Are you pushing your limits? Or are you coasting through life? The Stoics understood that growth is a journey. It requires discipline, patience, and intention. It's not always glamorous. Sometimes it's painful. To build real strength, you have to put in the work. Every day presents an opportunity to practice resilience. You can start small. Tomorrow, take one action that scares you. It could be speaking up in a meeting, reaching out to a friend you've lost touch with, or tackling a task you've been avoiding. Each time you confront fear, you strengthen this muscle of growth. Now that you understand this, let me show you the weapon that makes it stick. You must not just act. You need to reflect. Growth is not only about doing. It's about understanding why you're doing it. Remember this, challenges are not the enemy. They are the teachers. Embrace them. Let them mold you into your best self. Because the world needs you to grow. Secret 17. The journey of understanding. Now here is where most people completely fall apart. They take action without pausing to reflect. They race through life without ever understanding their own journey. This lack of understanding is where stagnation occurs. You cannot grow without understanding. You cannot evolve unless you confront the truth about yourself. The Stoics knew this well. They believed that every experience, good or bad, holds a lesson. This is the journey of understanding. Take Marcus Aurelius, for example. A great Roman emperor, he faced immense challenges, battles, betrayals, and the heavy weight of leadership. Yet, he wrote in his journal, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." What he means is that every obstacle brings a lesson. Each challenge pushes us to understand more about ourselves and our responses. This journey is not a straight road. It's filled with twists, turns, and potholes. You will stumble. You will doubt yourself. But this is where growth takes root. Ask yourself, how often do you reflect on your experiences? Do you sit down and analyze what you learned from your struggles? Or do you brush them off as just another part of life? Here's the lesson. Reflection fuels understanding. It's not enough to just face your challenges. You must dissect them. Look at what happened, how you felt, and what you can do differently next time. Now pay attention. This is the real lesson. To truly learn, consider journaling. Every night, write down one challenge you faced that day. Reflect on how you handled it. Did you react or respond? Did you learn? This action will deepen your understanding. It transforms mere experiences into powerful lessons. But what happens if you avoid this journey? You risk becoming stagnant. You risk letting life pass you by without ever grasping its meaning. And this is where it gets dangerous. You may find yourself in patterns that don't serve you. You might complain about your circumstances instead of learning from them. So, the action you must take is clear. Tonight, before you sleep, write down one challenge you faced today. Reflect on its lesson. Ask yourself, how did this shape me? What can I take forward? This small act, practiced consistently, will ignite your journey of understanding. It's the key to personal growth. You will not just face obstacles. You will embrace them. You will welcome them as teachers on your path. Now, imagine if everyone did this. What a powerful shift that would create. But knowing this alone is not enough. Because there is something even more dangerous. Secret 18. The empowerment of acceptance. Now here is where most people completely fall apart. Acceptance is a weapon, yet many see it as a weakness. They think surrendering means giving up. But let me tell you this. Acceptance is the first step to empowerment. When you accept what you cannot change, you reclaim your strength. Consider the story of Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher. He was born a slave. His early life was filled with pain and limitation. But Epictetus understood something crucial. He accepted his circumstances, and instead of letting them define him, he focused on what he could control, his mind and his actions. He famously said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This means that our responses shape our reality. Epictetus didn't complain about his fate. He accepted it, and in that acceptance, he found the power to transform his life from one of bondage to one of enlightenment. Acceptance doesn't mean passivity. It means embracing the truth of your situation. It's about recognizing the things you cannot control and choosing how to respond effectively. This takes strength. It takes discipline. Most people stop here. They use excuses as shields, believing they are victims of circumstance. But acceptance requires you to look beyond excuses and face reality head-on. So what does this mean for you? The action is simple, yet powerful. Each morning, take a moment to reflect on what you cannot change. Write it down. What can't you control? Maybe it's a difficult relationship, a job that feels unfulfilling, or even the past mistakes you can't undo. Acknowledge these things without judgment. Then, ask yourself, how will I respond today? Take this lesson to heart. Decide to engage with life fully, regardless of your circumstances. Accept what is. Refuse to complain. Shift your focus to what you can do. This practice will strengthen you. It will put you in the driver's seat of your life. But here is the part nobody talks about. Acceptance also means letting go of expectations. We often suffer because we want things to be different than they are. We cling to desires and outcomes that we cannot control. This leads to frustration and disappointment. The Stoics teach us that freedom comes when we stop fighting reality. Embrace what is, and you will find peace amidst chaos. Remember, acceptance is not a resignation. It is a choice to engage thoughtfully with your life. With this mindset, challenges become opportunities. And now, I challenge you. Tonight, write down what you struggled to accept today. Reflect on how it made you feel. Ask yourself, how can I change my response? This act of acceptance will empower you. It will pull you out of stagnation and into growth. You will no longer be tied down by resentment or frustration. Now that you understand this, let me show you the weapon that makes it stick. The final word, the Stoic path to harmony. Right now, you are wrestling with something that drains your energy. You struggle to accept what you cannot change. You let frustrations control you. This is your moment to break free. The path to harmony lies in the Stoic principle of acceptance. When we learn to accept reality, we reclaim our inner strength. You must stop resisting what is. You must recognize that your power lies not in changing others or situations, but in changing your response. I want you to pause right now and comment, "I accept what I cannot change" below. Write it. Own it. Let every like on your comment remind you of this promise. The Stoic path to harmony begins by embracing reality as it is. As Marcus Aurelius stated, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Imagine a soldier preparing for battle. He knows he cannot control the enemy's moves. Instead, he focuses on his training, his mindset, and his reactions. This soldier moves forward with an unwavering spirit, knowing his strength lies within. You must adopt this approach in your life. Accepting what you cannot change frees you from the chains of frustration. It opens the door to true peace. But here's the harsh truth. Most people stop here. They think acceptance is passive. They think it means giving up. Accepting reality is not about resignation. It's about actively choosing how to engage with your circumstances. When you let go of expectations, you stop the cycle of disappointment. You learn to see challenges as opportunities for growth. Epictetus taught us that it is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This is your call to action. Tonight, take a moment to reflect. Write down one thing you struggled to accept today. Name it. Describe how it made you feel. Then ask yourself, how can I change my response? This practice will strengthen you. You will learn to navigate life with resilience and clarity. You will no longer be bound by resentment. When you start embracing acceptance, a powerful transformation occurs. You discover freedom. You become unshakable amid life's storms. Now, make this commitment to yourself. Decide to engage with life thoughtfully. Remember, acceptance fuels growth. It empowers you to rise above mediocrity. Stand tall. Choose this path. Subscribe. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And I will see you in the next one.